Hello everyone, welcome to this advent of Spring Boot. I hope you will learn some new things and we will have some fun together. For this day one, we will learn how to create a Spring Boot app with the Spring Initializer and add an Hello World endpoint to play a bit with that. But let's dive into the code. Up. But first, for that, you will need to install Java. I'm on macOS, so I'm gonna use instacommand to install it, and I will use the following command. And of course, you will need an ID such as IntelliJ ID. I will give you all the links you need to do that. So let's use a terminal. And let's install Java 3. It's already installed, so I'm gonna use it. Let's see if it's the right version that is installed and usable. So it's Java 3, pretty cool. Let's go into the Spring Boot initializer. So the Spring Boot initializer, it's at start.spring.io. By default, I go to Maven, but maybe it won't be the case because the default is Gradle Groovy. So if you need to go to the Maven, you can add the following. Let's use Maven-project. Cool. We will use 3.4.0 versions. Let's see when it came out. So we're in December. Let's go to November, and it came out on the 21st of November. So it's, if you need it, it's. Oh, sorry for that. Oh yeah, to go to that link, you can go to calendar.spring. Sorry for my bad typing.io, and you directly go to the months, the current months, and you can switch back to November to see the last month and see that it came out on the 21st of November. And as you can see, there will be a new version on the 19th of December. So I'm pretty sure we will switch on that one for our days around that time. But let's go back to create our application. So I talk about the version. Let's add a group ID. And let's give a name to our application. And we will use Java 23 and Java packaging. I guess nobody use WAR a lot these days, but you can still do that if you need. We will use web stack. We could use the Spring Reactive Web, but for this advent of code, we will use mostly the Spring Web stack. So let's generate our application. And if we go to I'm already on my download folder, but let's see if I have Advent. Yeah, I have the zip created. Let's unzip it. Yeah, and let's go into it. And because I have already ID installed on my machine, I'm going to be able to open it, but let's switch back to that. You can download and use or install the community edition, but you could also use a 30-day trial period for this advent of code. I guess it will be less than 30 days, so you could use that version. I'm using it because I have the license for it, but you could use the community edition, it would be fine as well. So let's go back to the terminal and open our ID. To open our project. Let's go full screen and let's check what it has created. As we can see, there is the right version we choose. ID we chose, name. It uses Java 23, the web stack, and by default there is always the starter test that give you all the Java we need and the right version for testing our app. We won't see that today, but we will see that in future days. And of course, to build our application, there is a Spring Boot Maven plugin that package our application and helps us to start it. Let's go into the Java class. As you can see, there is a Spring Boot application in a main. You can launch our application. So let's compile it first and see if everything is in order on your machine. So let's type the mvn verify. It uses the mvn wrapper to build it. It should be a success on your machine. Cool, it's a success on mine, so we can start coding. As you can see, my ID is not refreshed, so I can go to Maven and refresh it. Yeah, cool. And let's create an endpoint. For that, we will need what we call a controller. There is other ways that maybe we'll see later, but for now, let's use the controller. We will do some REST API, so let's add REST controller, and we will also add some specification. Let's put API in front of our endpoints, all our endpoints in hello controller. Let's create a gate mapping that will return a string hello world, of course. So let's call our function hello world. And just to specify our endpoint, let's add hello in front of it. It should be good. Typo, cool. So everything should be okay. Let's run it. So as you can see, it uses by default Tomcat. We could use other server, but it uses by default Tomcat on port 8080, and it has started in less than a second. So let's see with the curl command if we are able to target our API, hello, and let's see the answer. Yeah, it works. Cool. Let's add another endpoint, and I will be able to show you. As you can see, you can add other stuff like put mapping, post mapping, delete to handle all the cases you need for REST API. Let's add a new get mapping to specify a bit our hello world, because it's cool to have an hello world endpoint, but it's pretty fixed. We can change it. So let's add some variable in that. So we will return an hello as well to someone. So let's add that. And we can use a new variable. Sorry, I'm bad at naming, but let's see. It's gonna work anyway. Cool. And to target our endpoint, we need to add hello. And yeah, that's called. Let's see, someone. Cool. And in order to get it, let's add someone by typo, and it should work. So let's rerun our application. Still restart, still less than a second. Oops, sorry for for that. And let's add Xavier or Santal. It's more in order. Santal. And you can see that he is able to switch between the hello and someone just on the pass, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy it and you are eager to dive into day 2 of Advent of Spring Boot. So let's meet tomorrow. Peace.